Tasya Kinangyana Salakaya Sakshu Militanyena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Mahavarinyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tuse Namaha. Vanchakalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha. Reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Madhya-līlā chapter 3. Lord Chaitanya at the house of Advaita Acharya, and that is text 155. Although the devotees were unhappy at not seeing the Lord's hair, they nonetheless derived great happiness from seeing his beauty. So now all the devotees from Navadvip came to Advaita Acharya's house to see the Lord, and they saw him without hair. Śrīvas, Ramai, Vidyanidhi, Gadadhar, Gangadas, Vakreshvara, Murari, Suklambara, Buddhimantakam, Nandana, Śrīdhar, Vijaya, Vasudev, Damodar, Mukunda, Sanjaya, and all the others, however many I can mention. Indeed, all the inhabitants of Navadvip arrived there, and the Lord met all of them with smiles and glances of mercy. Everyone was dancing and chanting the holy name of Hari. In this way, the domicile of Advaita Acharya was converted into Sri Vaikuntha Puri. People came to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from various other villages nearby, as well as Navadvip. To everyone who came to see the Lord from villages nearby, especially from Navadvip, Advaita Acharya gave residential quarters as well as all kinds of eatables. For many days, indeed, he properly adjusted everything. The supplies of Advaita Acharya were inexhaustible and indestructible. As many goods and commodities as he used, just as many again appeared. From the day Sachi Mata arrived at the house of Advaita Acharya, she took charge of the cooking, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dined in the company of all the devotees. So we know from Christianity, when there was this gathering of Jesus and so many people came to see him, and then they only had some bread and something other eatables, and it was not enough, such a huge crowd. And then by the grace of the Lord a miracle happened, and then more and more everybody got food to eat. You remember that, right? Yeah. In Christianity. It's the same here in Sri Advaita Acharya's house. Miracles happen all the time, actually. All the people who came there during the day saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the friendly behavior of Advaita Acharya. At night, they had the opportunity to see the Lord's dancing and hear his chanting. When the Lord performed kirtan, he manifested all kinds of transcendental symptoms. He appeared stunned and trembling, his hair stood on end, and his voice faltered. There were tears and devastation. Purport. Devastation is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as the combination of happiness and distress that becomes conspicuous by an absence of any sense of them. In this condition, a devotee falls to the ground, and the subsequent symptoms in the body ensue. These symptoms are mentioned above, and when they become prominent in the body, a state called pralaya, devastation, is manifested. Frequently, the Lord would tumble to the ground. Seeing this, Mother Sachi would cry. Srimati Sachi Devī thought that the body of Nimai was being smashed when he fell down. She cried, "Alas!" and petitioned Lord Vishnu. "My dear Lord, kindly bestow this benediction as a result of whatever service I have rendered unto you from my childhood." Whenever Nimai falls to the surface of the earth, please do not let him feel any pain. When Mother Sachi was thus overwhelmed in paternal love for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she became transformed with happiness, fear, and humility, as well as bodily symptoms. Purport. These verses indicate that Mother Sachi, born in the family of Nilambara Chakravarti, used to worship Lord Vishnu even before her marriage, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 6.41. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. Mother Sachi, a Nityasiddha living entity, is an incarnation of Mother Yasoda. She appeared in the house of Nilambara Chakravarti and was everlastingly engaged in the service of Lord Vishnu. Later she had her child, Lord Vishnu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Later she directly had as her child Lord Vishnu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and she served him from the day of his appearance. This is the position of Nityasiddha associates. Sri Narottam Das Thakur therefore sings, Gaurangera Sangigane Nityasiddha Kari Mane. Every devotee should know that all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his family members, friends, and other associates were all Nityasiddhas. A Nityasiddha never forgets the service of the Lord. He is always engaged, even from childhood, in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since Advaita Acharya was giving alms and food to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the other devotees headed by Srivas Thakur also desired to give him alms and invite him for lunch. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw his mother's great Hearing these proposals made by other devotees of the Lord, Mother Sachi said to the devotees, "How many times shall I get the chance to see Nimai again?" Sachi Mata submitted, "As far as you are concerned, you can meet Nimai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many times somewhere else. But what is the possibility of my ever meeting him again? I shall have to remain at home. A sannyasi never returns to his home." Mother Sachi appealed to all the devotees to give this charity. As long as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Advaita Acharya, only she would supply him food. Hearing this appeal from Mother Sachi, all the devotees offered obeisances and said, "We all agree to whatever Mother Sachi desires." When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw his mother's great eagerness, he became a little agitated. He therefore assembled all the devotees present and spoke to them. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed them all, "Without your order, I tried to go to Vrindavan. There was some obstacle, however, and I had to return. My dear friends, although I have suddenly accepted this renounced order, I still know that I shall never be indifferent to you. My dear friends, as long as I remain manifest, I shall never give you up, nor shall I be able to give up my mother." After accepting sannyas, it is not the duty of a sannyasi to remain at his birthplace, encircled by relatives. Make some arrangement so that I may not leave you, and at the same time people may not blame me for remaining with relatives after taking sannyas. After hearing Lord Chaitanya's statement, all the devotees headed by Advaita Acharya approached Mother Sachi. When they submitted Lord Chaitanya's statement, Mother Sachi, who is the mother of the universe, began to speak. Sachi Mata said, "It will be a great happiness for me if Nimai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, stays here. But at the same time, if someone blames him, it will be my great unhappiness." Mother Sachi said, "This consideration is good." Oh, maybe I missed the page again. 331. No. Okay. Mother Sachi said, "This consideration is good. In my opinion, if Nimai remains at Jagannath Puri, he may not leave any one of us, and at the same time can remain aloof as a sannyasi. Thus both purposes are fulfilled. Since Jagannath Puri and Navadvip are intimately related, as if they were two rooms in the same house, people from Navadvip generally go to Jagannath Puri, and those in Jagannath Puri go to Navadvip. This going and coming will help carry news of Lord Chaitanya. In this way I will be able to get news of him. All you devotees will be able to come and go, and sometimes he may also come to take his bath in the Ganges. I do not care for my personal happiness or unhappiness, but only for his happiness. Indeed, I accept his happiness as my happiness." After hearing Sachi Mata, all the devotees offered her prayers and assured her that her order, like a Vedic injunction, could not be violated. All the devotees informed Lord Chaitanya of Sachi Mata's decision. Hearing it, the Lord became very pleased. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered respects to all the devotees present from Navadvip and other towns, speaking to them as follows: "My dear friends, you are all my intimate friends. Now I'm begging a favor of you. Please give it to me." Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested them all to return home and begin chanting the holy name congregationally. He also requested them to worship Krishna, chant his holy name, and discuss his holy pastimes. Okay, we stop here for today. Jai Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya-līlā, chapter 3. Lord Chaitanya at the house of Advaita Acharya Ki Jai. And the author of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Śrīla Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai, and the purports by Om Vishnupad, Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Gurudev. Then we're reading from The Loving Search for the Lost Servant by Om Vishnupad, Śrīla Bhakti Rakaksidhadev Goswami Maharaj. On page 27, chapter Beneath the Loving Eye of God. We are always beneath the loving eye of God. We have to make ourselves aware of that all the time. Śrīla Guru Maharaj, Śrīla Śrīdhar Maharaj says, I'm always bathing in the nectarian glance of the merciful Lord. So when we do that, then automatically we will be humble, tolerant, and we will know how we can please the Lord. Vishnu Padam. The divine feet of our holy Lord are like the vigilant eye of a grand guardian hanging over our heads, like the sun, and we are living beneath the glance of that vigilant eye. We shall always try to live not in the objective, but in the subjective relativity. We should think, above my consciousness is superconsciousness. The vigilant guardian's eye is always watching over me. The Rig Veda mantra says, Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surya Diviva Chakshur Atatam. The divine feet of our Holy Lord are like the sun above our heads. His holy feet are like the vigilant eye of a grand guardian hanging over our heads like the sun, and we are living beneath the glance of that vigilant eye. We are interested not in the objective, but in the subject reality. We shall always try to live not in the objective, but in the subjective reality. You understand, Nadia Rani?
Okay.
Yeah. We should never think, under my feet I have firm ground to stand on. I'm big, I shall stand erect. Rather we should think, above my consciousness is superconsciousness. The vigilant guardian's eye is always watching me. I'm living under the glance of that eye. Our support comes not from below, but from above. He is our shelter. We are hanging from that substantial upper world wherein he resides. Our support is found there. We must become always conscious of that. This is a principal mantra in the Rig Veda. Before anyone approaches a new duty, he should think about his own position. We have been instructed by this verse from the Vedas to think in this way. You are under the vigilant eye of your guardian, and that great eye is as living as the sun. Its glance is just like that of the sun, which is over your head. Like a light that can pierce through to see anything within us. His piercing glance is upon you. Within this understanding of identity, we should approach our duty. We are never encouraged to think that we stand firmly here on solid earth, and that on the basis of a strong position, independent of His grace, we can carry out our Dharma. Actually, in our subjective relationship with divinity, we are just like the rays of the sun. Where do the sun rays stand? They stand on the sun. That is their source. In the same way, we should think that our stand is in the realm of divinity. We are so many particles of consciousness, and our stand, our motherland, is that conscious area. God consciousness means Krishna consciousness. We are consciousness and we are meant for Krishna consciousness. That is our relationship. We should always be conscious of this fact. We are connected with Krishna consciousness. We are members of the Krishna conscious world. And we have to come to wander in the foreign land of material consciousness. Mayika misconception. Thinking that we are units of this material world. But it is not so. We are units of the conscious world, the Krishna conscious world, and somehow we have come within this material conception of existence, the world of matter. Matter is what we can exploit, the objective side of reality, and the subjective side is the element we should revere. Our relationship with the subjective is that of reverence and devotion to the highest entity, and not that of exploitation or enjoyment. Real enjoyment, divine enjoyment, comes from service, not from exploitation. We must understand all these basic principles. Bhaktivedanta Swāmī Maharaj once remarked to me that although the engineers in New York have built so many skyscrapers buildings that will stand for ages, they were never mindful of how long their bodies would stand. The building will stand for a long, long time, but those who will live in those buildings have forgotten how long their bodies will stand. In this way, people are very busy on the objective side, but they are neglecting the subjective values. Their concern is with objects and not with who will use them. They think that no subjective cultivation is necessary for the user of the objective world. In this way, they give all importance to the objective side, neglecting totally the subjective side. Yeah, something nice to remember for the day. Always be in our subjective consciousness of our relationship with Mahaprabhu, Radha Sisi, Radha Kavirāja, with Gurudev, in our consciousness. And the objective world, which is around us via the senses, and the mind gives the narrative about the environment, to neglect that. That's not so. Ultimately, we have to calm down the whole mental system. It's coming from the ego. The mind is coming from the ego, and to nip it in the bud, Guru Maharaj says, not to think too much about all these narratives in our mind. Not to go there. It will be presented for us when time comes, and then we act accordingly in a Krishna consciousness way. So all this objective world is not important. We are living in the Krishna conscious subjective world. In where can I help? Where can I serve? How can I be helpful to the devotees in my environment, to the temple, to the guests who come? Okay. Any comment? Adding? Devananda Prabhu? Okay. Jai, loving search for the lost servant ki jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Śrīla Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj ki jai. Jai Śrīla Gurudev. Hari Yaraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Yaraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana.
Sri
Sisi Kurkuranga Sundar Radha Kavirāja Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Rakak Śrīdhar Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Gurvaga Ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat Sri Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Sapashala Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Sapashala Sri Mama Prabhu Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Ganga Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Granta Rachi Mad Bhagavatam Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Ki Jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Jai. Sri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Purushottama Dham Ki Jai. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat Ki Jai. Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Mat London Chapter Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All glories to the world devotees Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Sachi Devī Dāsī.